So this video is a follow-up from the previous video about hosting dinner events, and this one refers more to hosting in the sense of hosting a friend for a couple of nights to stay at your place. During that same sort of period where we hosted that dinner event, my friend from Sydney came over and she stayed with us for, I think it was about 3 or 4 nights, and that was a really sort of interesting experience, especially because it was the first time we've ever hosted someone. So I thought that I would talk about it and share my thoughts. Before I begin, I did want to give a shout out to my friend who visited. Albie, if you ever watch this, thank you for being a great guest, and it was really fun for my partner and I to share this time with you as well. I think the first thing that I would say about hosting a friend is I think your experience would really vary depending on who you're hosting. It's similar to going on holidays with your friends. Sometimes people go on holidays with their friends and, after the holiday, the friendship is over and it's not a good time. Other times when you go with not the right friends, but the friends that kind of suit you and your, I guess, living styles maybe, or your holiday styles, you can create an even greater bond. So in terms of hosting a friend at your place, you can't really say no anyway, but think about what the friend is like and whether, their living standards or expectations are quite high. For our experience, Albie didn't have huge expectations and she was quite happy with anything. We did try our best to give her the best sort of experience she could have and made her feel as welcome as she could and comfortable in our place. So we made sure that she had a bed to sleep on and she knew where everything was and she felt comfortable to, use anything or eat anything that she wanted. But I think we were really lucky because she's also really chill and quite independent, such that she can do stuff on her own without kind of needing us around, because she did stay for the weekend and then Monday and Tuesday where we both had work and didn't really have the time to sort of show her around as much. The other thing is that she wasn't too fussed about what we did. She was quite happy to just come and spend time with us with our daily sorts of activities. Being the first friend who has stayed with us, it was quite special in the sense that, as I said before, we wanted to make everything as nice as possible, as comfortable as possible. Of course, we cleaned everything up, made it all beautiful, or not beautiful, but neat and tidy for her, and tried our best to make sure that she had a good time, essentially. Overall, the experience was great, but there were a couple of, I guess, funny things to kind of think about when you're hosting your friend, and I wanted to talk a little bit about these things. Now, it won't be as appropriate if you do live in a bigger place or you have, more free time and things like that. But with the whole bathroom sharing issue, it's not really much of an issue, but, everyone has their body clocks and, when people wake up, usually they do need to go to the bathroom. And sometimes you might not expect someone else there, especially when you're used to just waking up and going to the bathroom. The other thing is with the bathroom, some people are a bit, cautious about sounds and pops and whatnot. Personally, I don't really care. We're all adults, we're all human, we know what people do. But unfortunately, during that weekend, I had some weird stomach bug or whatever it was, and I was not smoothly operating. Because of that, I was a bit, I guess, embarrassed to go to the toilet in my own house because, I didn't want to nuke everyone. So instead of going to our bathroom, when I did really, really need to go, I ended up running across the road to the Westfield nearby. It is only 5 minutes away, so that wasn't an issue, and I just went to the toilet there. But in hindsight, I could have just gone, and I'm sure my friend would have been fine, and my partner is probably fine with it too. But it's just a funny thing when, you're inviting someone into your house and you have to do one of those nastier sort of things. But yeah, that's the bathroom sort of sharing issue. The other thing that was a bit funny was that sense of privacy and doing what you're comfortable in your own home. Everyone knows that Brisbane is hot and it's currently the middle of summer, so the temperature is about 35 degrees, every day. Because of that, I'm quite accustomed to walking around not wearing too much. Obviously, when you have a guest in the house, you be a bit more decent, but sometimes you forget. It's, again, not too much of a big issue, but it was just funny to laugh at afterwards. One of the more technical or logistical sort of things to consider when hosting someone is what you're going to do with them. Now, as I said before, we did want to give Albie the best sort of experience that we could. She has been to Brisbane before, so, you know, her main purpose was to spend time with us, but we didn't want it to just be like boring, sitting at home, doing nothing sort of thing. We tried to think of a lot of different places we could take her that, you know, were a little bit exciting or something that she might not have seen before. And what ended up popping up was the fruit markets. So just taking her to those 24-hour fruit markets was quite interesting for her, because that's not something that they've got in Sydney. And because a lot of the produce is made and grown in Queensland, the prices are a lot lower. So it was pretty funny walking around like those fruit markets, just looking at the prices of different things and her being like, oh my gosh, I wish I could take this back to Sydney. It sounds like a bit of a strange thing to do, but I think it is quite interesting to see that other side of, you know, the cost of living and how it can differ from Sydney. The other thing that we like to do was actually cook things together. So we made a couple of interesting things like dumplings, we made fried rice, and then we also made breakfast together, and finally we also made apple crumble, which was pretty fun too. I think just, you know, making something together in a kitchen and like while things are cooking or while you're chopping, just talking, it's a really nice kind of wholesome experience essentially. The other things that we did do were, of course, like watch movies, play card games, go out to eat at cafes that offer things that they don't have in Sydney. And the one unique sort of thing we did was a Pilates class, which was a bit different, but it's kind of like an experience you can share together and kind of sweat through and then talk about after. So I think that was really fun to do, just bonding over these little things. And yeah, I'd really recommend just those little activities where you can kind of talk and share that experience in the one go. I think overall hosting was really nice, and I'm really glad that we got this experience, even though it can be a bit stressful to kind of set everything up, make everything nice and clean. I was really glad that Albie could come, or any friend could come and share this space with us and get to know my partner a bit more as well. Due to the way our relationship worked, he left Sydney without being able to meet a lot of my friends, and I think that in the scenarios where he has been able to meet them, they've been kind of big social groups. So having this kind of one-on-one experience in, you know, a comfortable kind of homely area, it allowed them to kind of get closer, and it gives, I don't know, it just gives you comfort knowing that your partner and your friends get along essentially. And I hope that I'm able to host more friends and have that experience again and again. I think the one kind of sad part about hosting is saying bye at the airport. It felt really sad, and I know that, like, I knew in the back of my mind that, you know, she would be going home, but having her here, it kind of felt like I was almost in Sydney again, or I was young again, and being able to spend, you know, weekends with friends and seeing friends regularly and talking to them just about, you know, anything and everything. And having her leave, it kind of just felt like, not abandonment, but it kind of just reminded me that, you know, our friendship is long distance, and she was returning back to home and I wasn't able to go, essentially. I know that Sydney is just 1.5 hours away, and it's really easy for me to go or her to come here. And that applies to all of my friends. But yeah, having a long distance friendship, it isn't easy. And I think when you see each other, it's great. But when you have to part ways again, it kind of hurts a little bit. But that's, I guess, my experience with hosting a friend for the first time. It was really fun, and I'm really glad that I was able to do it. And I hope that my friend had a really good experience too. Hopefully in the future, I will be able to host more friends, maybe after I move to a bigger place and, you know, it's a bit more comfortable having them around, so they're not crammed into a little room or sharing a bathroom and having to time when they go. But yeah, I definitely recommend hosting to anyone, and I hope that I can do it a lot more in the future. Thank you.